When you are a kid, you feel invincible. My name is Cole Mitchell, and I am 25 years old, from rural Pennsylvania, just outside the city of Reading. Ever play Monopoly? That's our railroad. Before I get too far into it, I want to thank the HCMA for their work in giving us this opportunity to share our stories. I grew up with a single mother, as my father had passed away before I was born due to complications from a kidney transplant after a heart transplant. My mother was my rock growing up, she still is, so when I was diagnosed at age 12, it was her support that made it easier. It was discovered during a simple, routine, yearly well visit. My pediatrician heard a heart murmur, so I was sent to get that checked out. What ensued was a journey that took me to multiple doctors spanning 3 states. I went to a few different places while they figured out exactly what it was, and I eventually ended up 350 miles away at Tufts Medical Center in Boston, before moving to Allentown, Pennsylvania to be closer to home, and then finally following my doctor to Morristown, New Jersey. When I was diagnosed, I did not believe or understand what was happening. When you are a kid, you feel invincible, climbing trees and jumping down instead of carefully getting back down just because you can. I was told I had to stop playing sports, which was not much of a bother since I did not play sports growing up. I had been involved in the scouting program since I was 6, so being able to continue that was one of my biggest concerns. Luckily, I was able to continue, and was able to make it all the way up through to Eagle Scout, but that's another story entirely. When I was 15, 3 years after diagnosis, I was advised to get an implantable cardioverter defibrillator, or an ICD. Again, kids feel invincible, and even knowing what I knew, which when you are 15, you think you know everything, I did not want one. It was only after talking to people who cared about me, and also with someone who is my age who had one, that I decided it was a good idea to get one. 6 months later, I received an appropriate shock that saved my life. Had I not gotten one, I would not be here to share this story. I had just fallen asleep, and I did not know what happened until my mother received a phone call the next day. I vividly remember the voice on the other end of the phone telling my mother, if he had not gotten one, you would be planning a funeral right now. What a terrifying thing to hear as a 15-year-old, but it is just one of the ugly truths of HCM. Looking at me back then, and even today, you would not be able to tell that I have a heart condition. My life has been impacted by HCM in multiple ways. I have been taking medications twice a day for nearly 15 years. It has narrowed the career choices that I could have made. A lot of kids say they want to be a police officer or a firefighter when they grow up, or join the military, but those were options that I just simply did not have. Even with these limitations and differences, I'm able to maintain a positive outlook on life, and I've used my unique perspective in my chosen field. I go to bed happy, and I wake up happy, knowing that I have the opportunity to do so, unlike others who went before me that were unprotected by an ICD. I guess that is why I've always had a penchant for helping others. My experiences with the condition also led me to get a degree in social work. I've been able to take my unique perspective on life to my work. To truly understand adversity, you first need to deal with it yourself. And I have. I know what it is like to have someone look at you and say, there's nothing wrong with you. Stop faking. I wish I were faking, and I want others to be believed as I should have been. I applied the knowledge and skills I've obtained in life and formal education to getting a career with the Boy Scouts of America as a district executive, which is a member of their field staff. While not as hands-on as some other careers in the social work field or with the Boy Scouts of America, it helps me help others without endangering myself or others as a result of my physical limitations. Another aspect of life this condition affected was my relationship with others. When diagnosed, I had a few concerns, the 2 main ones being, can I continue Scouts, and what will my friends think? Will I lose them? Who wants to hang out with someone who is broken? The biggest outwardly apparent factor was that I could not run in gym class or go on high adventure trips with the Scouts, which was difficult, but quickly just became a fact of life. While I have far fewer symptoms than others, I want to tell you about some of the worst days. It is still frustrating to have to say, "I'll catch up," or "Hey, I'll wait here." The most frustrating part is that every day is different. Some examples that happen frequently is having to catch my breath after one flight of stairs that I could run up the day before, or hike 5 miles around a local lake one day and be exhausted from simply walking 500 feet to the mailbox the next. But what I really want you to know is that I just want the bad days to end. I'd like to tell you about two situations that occurred. One while working in a deli, and the other while walking around the aisles of Walmart. In both cases, I began to have palpitations. I started to get tunnel vision. As this was happening, I was scared. I was scared of several things. Scared of what was happening physically, and scared of what would happen if I did pass out. Would those around me know what to do, especially since I don't look the part? I just want the bad days to end. I hope new therapies can be developed to help end these bad days. I appreciate you taking the time to hear from us today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.